Watching right now. Next weekend is going to be a super hype episode. It's going to be me, Dan, and Ed, 80 Hertz of all people, in the same room together, casting, possibly with beers. And it's going to be great. And there's also going to be a huge announcement on that stream. So spread the word, get hyped, anticipate, and be there in droves, because you're not going to want to miss either the episode or the announcement or us, because we're just fantastic.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So next week, that's kind of the big one. Are you ready?
Oh yes.
All right, let's do it. Hello everybody and welcome to Game 3, Week 9, King of the Hill. We have at the moment in front of you a new king playing as OKW. It is the fearsome Von Asten.
And in the south, it is J4Jet, and he's renowned for his OKW play, but here he's playing his rank 2 Brit play. It's on Korn, pretty much a replica, the sequel to the match we saw last week where he beat Helping Hands. But in that game against Helping Hands, also on Korn, he played OKW against Brits. Now, Dan, it's his turn to play Brits versus OKW, but he's not up against Helping Hands anymore.
No, he's not. And this was the kind of odd thing to me. I don't think I've seen J4Jet play Brits before, to recollection. Do you know what I mean? I don't know him as a Brit player, so it's this is why I couldn't really say where this game is going to go, and maybe Von Asten doesn't know what's going to happen either. Maybe that's the kind of the push out here. If we learned anything from Helping Hands' game last week, it was that, you know, Brits are very, very slow at the start of the game. They're not like you know, able to push deeply at the start of the game. They're mainly defensive, so OKW needs to be aggressive. J4Jet needs to be very careful about how he moves around the map right now.
You did see J4Jet play Brits last week, but it was a entirely different map. It was Kolodny Firm. It was against KotH's mobile defense, Wehrmacht, and it didn't go very well at all. He was knocked out within 20 minutes of that game being on, and KotH only lost 30 victory points. So the only time we've seen him play Brits, it didn't go too well. That said, completely different game, completely different opponent, 100% different map. We're on the war-torn streets of Korn after the RAF have done their thing of helping the British Army defeat the Germans by blowing your city up. Much like in Team America where they blow Paris up, this is pretty much what the situation is here. Britain, oh yes.
Jay's
Don't worry, frogs, we'll have you. 400 Lancaster bombers should do the trick.
Yeah.
I make this joke every time. Big push in for the Stern Pioneers, flanking the Vickers. He's going to reposition, but Foch Grenadiers coming from the other side. More Foch Grenadiers coming in. They're surrounded right now.
Yeah, he's making it very, very hard for Jay to get a set-up position. He will have to retreat the Vickers, and that is a good play there. Grenades also force out the Tommies, so you know, Von Asten has managed to secure his resources. He's only going to have to deal with the Universal Carrier now, which looks like it's having a few issues with with positioning. It drives into the
What's
ruins.
it done there? That's terrible. It's like off-roading or something into a building. I've seen that one before. Tommy's winning a battle in the north, looks like, with their incredibly accurate, fast precision firing. So it's a nice map to be marauding around with the Universal Carrier. Not because you get road bonuses, there aren't any on this particular map, but it's great because there's a lot of buildings. You need maneuverability and mobility to be active and to harass your opponent, so the Universal Carrier is perfect for that. And to that endeavour, it's actually building the Wasp flamethrower now for 70 munitions.
I really like the Wasp, if I'm totally honest with you. I think the Wasp is a really, really nice unit, and great on here as well, because there are a lot of buildings on the OKW side they'll be using to keep the Brits away. There's a lot of cover positions, and you see the Wasp. Von Asten's already just kind of scared of it. So it's a really, really nice unit to bring out at the start.
It absolutely is, and it's showing that right now as it has a barbecue. streets of Caen. And burns the KotH Grenadiers to a delicious crisp. Ready salted KotH Grenadiers, an excellent snack between war.
See Von Asten, he's kind of mimicking Von Ivan's build in this, and is going for Raketten, and that's going to be in response to the Universal Carrier, upgraded with the Wasp.
As I say, I mean, I always think OKW are going to get the Raketten out. I just think it's just one of those things in the meta right now. They're always going to have that manpower, little tiny flux of manpower, and it just allows them to get out. I don't think UKF, USF, or Wehrmacht really have that, you know, where they float manpower in the early game for a brief moment. Isn't really something that I think about.
I suppose it's different for for the different factions. It also kind of depends when you tech as well, because I think you can make use of it. You can kind of, you know, make use of the manpower and time it correctly. But if you're going to go for it early, I think that's where that manpower flow comes from.
I think that because conscripts and KotH Grenadiers are so cheap and so abundant, it just allows that to happen, and it makes me think maybe, you know, getting an MG34 out early might be a good option for OKW, or, you know, something like that would be decent as well. But that's a great thing about the balance in the meta right now. We just don't know what's happening. I definitely know that infantry spam into vehicles is a sign of players that haven't discovered the meta yet. It always seems to be the case in Company Heroes. After a big patch, people will temporarily just go into infantry spam into vehicles, and then we'll start to see a little bit more after that.
Both players trying to be really really hot on the cutoffs right now. JFJet's having to retreat off the right-hand side because he's low health models, and Von Asten is pushing that. Von Asten's doing good because he's trying to reclaim his own territory right now whilst pushing JFJets, and he's kind of suffering from that classic British problem, which is that if you do overextend, you can be pushed in a lot of directions very quickly. Brits really need to kind of play solidly on one front and push out in small increments.
Definitely.
Yeah, going too far just results in pretty big problems.
Raketten versus Wasp here. Wasp darts in and out and buzzes around. Still eats a shot though. Just about surviving there. There was no follow-up and there is none coming. However, KotH Grenadier is suddenly going deep from JFJ. Watch out for that in the rear of the map. Interesting point by Derlisen in chat. Jay has a KD of 2.75 in this game so far, which is pretty good even for Tommy's versus KotH Grenadiers.
I think Brits always kind of come off with that better KD, don't they? Just because they're just so good at the ranged engagements, especially in cover. They just provide so much, and played correctly. Like it's kind of a position-based faction, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. They rely on it a lot more than the others do. I mean, everything from, you know, the mortar to just, as you say, the general infantry positioning. And that's why Helping Hands makes such great use of it. Helping Hands, for my money, is the best positional player in the game. He's always been a prepared position player where you build up slowly, you've got your forces all working together. And that's why a map like Caen isn't actually that good for that, you know? And that's why Jay himself was able to exploit it last week. And Von Asten is going to be trying to replicate that.
Enemy causing trouble, trying to take one of our points.
It's been a really brutal game already. Just, I guess both players, they're just fighting for this resource control because, you know, getting the vehicles on the field first, and also the type of vehicles that you get on are really important. And the AC is going to be coming on, and you know, JFJet's going to want to try and control these cut-off points and the resource points loads, because he just doesn't want Von Asten to get that mobile, strong vehicle on the field early on. We do have, you know, the battle group has gone up, so and nothing from it yet. So it might be that Von Asten goes for that early P4, and you know, it needs to be delayed as much as possible. I feel like Jay knows this.
Faust being eaten by the Wasp in the centre there, but it's not before it's done its work. It has gotten 2 kills. I know that's not amazing, but it's done alright in general. Meanwhile, Stern Pioneer has to retreat with 1 man remaining in the east. And yeah, it's been a slow, steady game so far. We're now waiting for the tech options to heat the war up a little bit and allow it to boil over into something a little bit more exciting. AC was built down, and it's just started to move now. I don't know what they were doing, probably having a ciggy, and they're now all ready for combat.
Yeah, it looked like a rally point, I think, actually. But he just hadn't really needed it to fire up the map for any reason so far. And he's sending it over to the right fuel. And I mean, it's a pretty good position for him. He's also going for the sniper, which suggests, you know, he's got a bit of manpower to spare right now. And sniper is, I do think the sniper is a good choice because with veterancy, it has very, very good stun abilities. It has very, very good like utilities on that unit. And it's just one of those, you know, as we always say, it eats away at the manpower of your opponent, and it just stacks up over time.
It's one of those things, an untold advantage that builds up over time. Faust comes in with a wombo come on from the Rakettenwerfer from max range. AC, how we hardly knew ye. You have a very short blurb on your tombstone because it had pretty much nothing to do on the battlefield except die.
It's really bad to lose that so quickly. Got an incendiary, a great incendiary on the Vickers, which J4Jet I don't think is spotted yet. He's not even packing down. There we go, but he may lose models to this. Still hasn't retreated. Ooh. That is dangerous play right there. And even if these Volks Grenadiers pop around in cover, they might be able to
setting up again. Is he mad?
He is mad.
He just chose to set up again. That was silly. That was really silly, and now he's going to get punished for it.
Yeah, that is a really unneeded.
Sniper might get the last kill though. One for his grenade. Oh no, he's had to retreat. I thought he would go for the kill. Oh dear, wasn't the best passage of play I've ever seen.
Also, Universal Carrier is stuck in the ruins right now. Volks Grenadiers are. This is. You do not want the UC to be in this position. Might get it out. Von Asten has spared him. There was mercy there from Von. Oh no, no!
He didn't have the. Oh, he did have the munitions. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Glide has come down, pushed away the MG34 in the north. Looks like the UC Wasp will survive. Of course, now they can reinforce from the glider point in enemy territory.
It's very ballsy with the UC to keep putting flames down in that condition, because it's only going to take another Faust, really, for that to go down, you know, with some light arms fire, so...
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe that MG, though. I don't know what he was thinking. You just don't do that. The health on the you know, the squad model matters so much, for support weapons. I mean, suppression takes about a second or two, depending on the situation and cover, etc. So you're going to get headshotted, and then you'll enter the death cycle, and that's exactly what just happened.
But SWS truck ready and waiting to set up on the field. There we go, and J4Jet's kind of just spotted it, so he knows that it's coming. He hasn't seen a vehicle so far, so he's going to be able to predict that something will be coming from Tier 4. And he also knows that he's got a bit of time on his hands right now. So if we check his tacking, will he decide to climb up to the armor units?
I love this glass cannon combo there. The Wasp and Sniper team. Oh, the commanders could be going down. Sturmgewehr's firing. Commander's running through the flames. God, he's going to have a tale to tell in the pub. That was horrific.
J4Jet's still not doing too badly, if I'm honest. You can see the AEC's kind of dented him down a little bit. He looks like he may lose...
Wasp possibly going down. He's Fausted once. Sturmgewehr's could be finishing it off. The flames are firing. 55 cal is also doing it. And here comes the second Faust. Doesn't need it. Core 98s do the job. Meanwhile, in the north, MG34 under duress from the Tommies. You could have gone for the squad wipe there.
They're trying to get in that building. The models are just not allowing him to get in. That was a serious dance. It's allowed Von Asten to take the MG and move away. Might get an incendiary on there just to force the Brits out. And, oh, look, the MG setting up on the retreat path for those Tommies too. Yeah, I really like that.
That's really good. Oh no, he's not going to fall for it. He's going to go around the edge. Meanwhile, we've got Bren guns versus Sturmgewehrs. Pushed away there. This is a nice steady game. I feel like this is boiling over and ticking over quite well. And you know about slow cooked meat. It's often some of the most delicious meats, and I think we're going to have a stew of activity in the late game. That is going to be very exciting to watch indeed. Tale of... Ooh, go on.
It's just been a relatively even game at the moment. Territories kind of switching sides all the time, and I just think this first armor that hits the field, like the first thing that comes in, is going to be a big decider.
It's going to help situations dramatically. We're going to have this set up into the Schwerpanzer headquarters, facing the cut-off. It's in a very well defended area as well. I think commandos might have spotted, maybe. They've been sculling around anyway, trying to find an unsuspecting foe. Tommies versus MG34, they've already headshotted, and the sniper comes in to help out. They could be getting the MG34 in return. Will the sniper get the shot on retreat? He needs to. Yes, he will. They've traded machine guns.
It's really important that he gets that as well. Really important move. Machine guns for the Brits there, you know, just helping them even further because they're already winning these engagements from cover. So MG's never never any harm picking up an extra MG.
Commandos nearly died then. They were really bad grouping against the Schwer, but they do retreat quite quickly. I'm so hungry. I mean, this is an amazing game. I'm loving it. Feed me. MG34 facing up. That is a British MG34 now. Facing up to keep the French Grenadiers guessing. They go in straight for the incendiary grenade. They're really annoying to play against, aren't the incendiary grenades? They come out so quickly and they just push you around the battlefield. You can never just be in a garrison or have a sport weapon without it being torched.
No, it's a really it makes OKW just very, very effective against Brits because they just can't stay in those cover positions, which are kind of essential to the faction. The sniper caught off guard there, forced to retreat. Yeah, there just hasn't been the tech for J for Jet yet that is going to be able to push Von Asten back. Von Asten has a better army on the field by all means. But the only issue he's really facing is actually pushing stuff away from buildings and you know, getting it with the incendiary grenades. But he needs something more. And in a way, I'm surprised to see him go for the Obersoldaten.
I mean, in terms of fuel right now, J for Jet has 200. It costs 115 to get the company command post out. But I think Von Asten's ahead because he has the Schwer and he's already up into Panzer IV territories right now, which is, of course, 140 fuel. And that's the perfect vehicle for this map. I think Von Asten's going to be able to get his tank on the field more quickly, with Obers as well helping out the situation. And he's going to have a nice window where he can really, you know, push his dominance and make some ground.
Commandos there just getting caught out. You see grenades have been teched as well, and not being used to great effect. And this infantry squad is going to suffer to the Stern Pioneers. They're Vet 3 now as well, so they can use the concussive grenade ability if they really, really wanted to. Make things really, really hard for the Tommy squads. Great grenade,
big grenade from the Obersoldaten. They might be able to finish it off. Oh, where is their accuracy when they needed it most? Couldn't quite get the job done.
No, it's just unlucky, really. Shame they didn't have the upgrade because the MG would have really helped to take those down.
I think bundle nades are really cool. I think it's one of those kind of operational tactics things of these grizzled veterans fighting throughout mostly Eastern Europe and using what they've got. They've got these stick grenades. Let's lash 3 of them together and take off the fuse on one of them. And with incredibly explosive consequences, as just shown there for that poor commando squad. What are your thoughts on bundle nades, Dan? Do you think they're cool?
I do actually. I really like them. I like them for the Panzer Grenadiers and Obersoldaten. I think they're just beefy. Do you know what I mean? They're beefier and When you think about it, like the Axis do have some pretty lethal grenades in their arsenal at any point. It's kind of one of the, whether it's the rifle nades as well, which are also incredibly lethal. I just feel like allied nades are a little easier to avoid.
Yeah, they're not as cool, are they? I mean, the light gammon bombs are pretty horrific, but that's been nerfed. And here we go. We have indeed got the Panzer IV, as predicted, of course, by pretty much anybody who's ever watched Company Heroes before. Death in the West, by the way. Royal Engineers dying.
Not dead yet. In fact, I'm surprised Von Asten should stay still, try and get the high accuracy shots instead. He's trying to move. What? Oh, there we go. Does get
the... Oh, and in the centre, he's got another Tommy dying. God, it's not going very well, is it?
No,
Panzer IV bastard. He's very aggressive, throwing his weight around.
What a shame, because J for Jet has a huge VP lead, just got his first armor on the field, and losing those squads is really bad for him. It means he's on the back foot and he's having to play up against an army of higher strength than him. Then again, Von Asten's
I'll tell you what though, the sniper's just got the crit off on the Panzer IV. Cromwell's coming around the rear of the armour there. It's got the jump on the Panzer IV. It's going to block him, hits Halt on his keyboard to block the tank, keep the line of sight. What a great move by Jay.
He's trying to move with less predictability. The best the Volks Grenadiers here are going to do is get a Faust off for the snare. Armour has not... Oh no, it has been penetrated, and Cromwell gets the kill. And this should be easy for J for Jet to get back to base and repair. Could see the death of the commandos. Oh, right side, Volks Grenadiers take him on the retreat, overextension, and this is so tough for Jay to come back from.
It is. You know, it's an incredibly tough position now. He may have just gotten that Panzer IV, but he's lost 3 squads, three very expensive squads, and I mean, Tom, I'll do the maths, Stan, you keep talking.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. So, whilst A's doing the math, we see the sniper trying to attack the right VP. J for Jet needs to be a little more planned on where he goes at the moment. He's got a much more reduced army than Von Asten, so he needs to pick a side and really make use of everything at his disposal. And do it in the most effective way. He's not going to be able to spread out, and doing that would mean he's vastly overpowered by Von Asten.
So I've done the math. Sorry, I thought you'd finished.
No.
I always try and jump in when I think you're finished, and I'm invariably wrong. So Jay's just lost 800. He's lost a Vic. Oh, for God's sake, he lost the MG30. Okay, he's lost 1,100 manpower or thereabouts in the past 3 or 4 minutes, and all he's gotten out of it is a Panzer IV. So it's a clear and huge win for Von Asten in this current situation. Saying that though, Foch Grenadiers are on a difficult retreat path. Will Tommy to get the kill? They won't.
He's trying to dive now with that Cromwell. I feel like we're going to be seeing desperate plays. Do you know what I mean? Desperate plays for him as he just struggles to get control of any part of the map that's going to give him a few more resources to make the pushes. He does have the air supremacy, so maybe he'll use that somewhere. Maybe it'll be on tier 4 if you can get the sight for it, to maybe just stop Von Asten from getting any more units, any more tanks in the game. But he needs to be quick because that second Panzer IV is in the build.
You're just looking at right now at what it looks like when one person's just lost 3 or 4 squads in a row. He's got barely any of the map as we speak. Foch Grenadiers with Veteracy now. Obersoldaten, Stern Pioneers, Veteracy 4 are just fanning out. And don't forget, by the way, he's got 2 machine guns. He's got the Vickers and the MG34. So he can just fan out and control territory a lot better than Jay can.
Cromwell's just not being too effective against these Volks. Ketten's lining up for a shot. That's just going to keep it at bay, make it a little more cautious about what it's doing. Also susceptible to the Faust now, so Jay is kind of pushed back a little by that. And yes, it's difficult. You know, you can see Von. He's slowly locking down the map. He's got MG in the center, and the Volks Grenadiers. 2 squads of those kind of patrolling the north to keep the Brits away. Right side's being capped, and again another MG there, so it's really difficult for J for Jet to progress anywhere here. he kind of lacks indirect fire to kind of move these units away.
Yeah, I thought for a second he just used the button. He hadn't, though. He just spent some munitions somewhere else. He does have that button at his disposal, though. You know, he has the air supremacy operation. So keep an eye on that. That would be very historically accurate.
I do hope we get to see it, because at the very least it's a very impressive ability.
But it is just World War II all over again. Brits failing to take Caen on the 4th attempt. Bring in the heavy bombers, and might be what we're going to see. Cromwell's ready for battle once more. It's only gotten the 2 kills, 1 infantry kill and 1 tank destroy. So good for it. Also having the 6-pounder come out for Jay. He's got to protect himself. He was a little bit lucky earlier on. Oh god, Panzer IV takes a shot. Panzer Faust queued up. Yes, needs to get around the edge of that building there. Reversed away very quickly there, Jay, so protects his tank for now.
It's so difficult, isn't it? Like, you can see von Asten, the positioning of the Panzer IV, just using it because he knows the Brits just don't have that snaring option, so it's so easy for them to hide. Oh, we see Sternpine is throwing the concussive grenade. That has stunned the British infantry. They are on the retreat. And once again, just denied from getting that victory point. We're seeing victory points for J4Jet. They're just decreasing rapidly now. He was on 480. He had a great lead. And von Asten is just slowly tightening the noose around him.
Yes, the noose indeed. The rear armour of the Panzer IV is showing, however, somehow they didn't penetrate with the Cromwell there. It's a tale of a little bit of random numbers being generated. Infantry section, of course, no inherent snare, unless you want to get dank hunters, but it doesn't have that at his disposal. He's completely incredibly pegged back right now, Dan. He's got a small area of the map which is roughly the size of my garden.
I don't know, yeah, not to scale, I hope.
Yes, it's like indeed the Blackadder's quote of General Field Marshal Haig, rather, looking at the map of all the takings after the Battle of the Somme. It's a barren, scorched wasteland out there, isn't it, Private Darling? What is the scale of this map?
It's 1-to-1, sir.
It's 1-to-1, sir. Yes, that's indeed. Look, there's a little worm. Cromwell just hit a mine, by the way. Rakettenwerfer's now setting up. Where's the Panzer IV and all this? It's nowhere to be seen. Oh no, it's reversing slowly towards the enemy.
Yeah, it's one of the, I mean, you see the Raketten. The Raketten is actually really well hidden on the right side by the VP. Von Asten is just playing defensively, and I guess when you play defensively against a defensive faction, it puts Brits in a pretty awkward position. You know, if they want to get that indirect fire, they've either got to use, use something from the sniper or the infantry to use the base howitzers, or they need to build like a mortar pit, and it's just so much manpower and so much planning. It's so slow to do.
You know, one person that takes no BS whatsoever, Dan. I don't know if you've ever encountered. You would have done. When somebody says something wrong, Loveness doesn't care. He's never delicate about it. And somebody in this chat just says, "I never like this map. Always comes down to a one-sided stomp." And then Loveness says, "Well, that tends to happen when one player is winning." There's nothing to do with the map. We've seen games on this map that have been incredibly back and forth all over the place. It's just like...
Yeah, like... I was honestly surprised this was removed from the map pool, because I just thought, I think it's a really good map. I've never really, seen many issues on it. It needs a little bit of changing, but when you think about some of the maps that have had restructuring and how good they've become.
Oh my god, it's vile. Samosky still in the pool? It's terrible.
Got Minsk Pocket in the 1v1.
Oh god.
Come on.
Oh, Dan's game. Get me away
Khan,
from that.
leave Minsk. Okay.
Please, we should make a new political group.
So...
Why do we have Westwall? Legio just mentioned it. Westwall. To be fair, Westwall's not the worst. It's a bit more of a... It's too big for a 1v1, but it's not terrible. It's got weird kind of pathing issues there in the centre and stuff.
sniper there. They finally managed to get around the MG in the center, which is leaving potentially 2 VPs that can be controlled by Jay. Panzer IV's trying to take...
trap.
It is a trap indeed, and that's going to force Von Asten to actually use his Blitzkrieg ability to get that tank out of there. We're going to see an MG reclaimed in the center, so Von's given away a couple of units here.
He has indeed. And he's still, you know, overly dominant right now. He's got a huge bank of fuel resources. Does he have his mech? He has his mechanized as well, so he's clearly saving for 5 Kubelwagens in the late game. It's always going to be that 5 Kubelwagen late game super strat. And the mechanized will allow him to repair them really quickly. Damn, there's dead air. You've got to fill it.
Sorry.
What? Okay.
I'm just kind of like watching the game and just seeing.
You've got to say things, so that's the key to good commentary. Honestly, I'm only joking, by the way. It's one of those games that's a little bit not overly enthralling at times, unfortunately, but it's had its moments in this particular one, namely where the Panzer IV got destroyed. But J4Jet has since that point never really gotten back on the map. Von Asten's just slowly bled him to death, and.
Yeah, he hasn't just made much ground. I kind of feel like we're just seeing him constantly attack this front line that's being well defended by Von Asten. We're not seeing great pushes through gaps in the right places, and Von Asten's just got such a good defense right now. And you know, at best, J4Jet hasn't really thrown anything at it. He's also not getting the munitions in anymore, so he's not even able to use his off-map ability to clear space for his units. He is just being boxed in and boxed in and boxed in. And this game, I think, doesn't have much room to go now.
I think that's what happens when we can see there's no potential for the comeback. At this present point right now, I'd bet a lot of money that there wasn't. He's in such a pocket of resistance. It's a shame he's got no huge call-ins like zeroing artillery at his disposal because of munitions right now. We're throwing a lot of incendiary grenades and using a lot of Fausts and S-mines as well, which detonates on him. Jesus Christ, that didn't go to plan.
No, it's not. At least it's kind of, you know, cool using your enemy's traps against them. It's always nice if you're losing to get a kind of one-up with your opponent that way.
Well, what we're going to do to Legio when we dogpile him is I'm going to grab Legio's hand and hit him with his own hand and tell him to stop hitting himself. This is when we see him, of course. So that'll be very similar.
We have just had the King Tiger arrive on the field for Von Asten. If you thought things weren't already going, yeah, go for it. Please.
Okay. You ready? This is my epic spiel that I do every time I see a King Tiger in a truly competitive game. It's a really big tank. It's got sloped sides. It's got a really big cannon. It's the King Tiger. I mean, I am the best hypecaster ever. I think everybody's hyped up right now for this huge behemoth of a vehicle, and let's see what it can do.
I wasn't really expecting to see the King Tiger, to be honest. It's nearly insulting. If I'm
it is. It's a PM Tiger, isn't it? Look how slow it is as well. Jesus
it is. It's totally unnecessary. Von Asten could have taken the opportunity to capitalize on his lead early. He's just throwing something in that's even harder to deal with. It's just going to sit and camp and just do nothing. Von Asten probably should get his Panzer IV repaired and go and defend the other VP just to close things off quickly.
Eberbax asks for a fun fact about World War II with a Permaspog Imperial Dane face. Okay then.
Interesting fun fact for you here. If you look at the MG34's left shoe, this is a boot that was only made in Mönchengladbach factories in the 1943 era. And you can tell that by the laces and the knots. They are eccentric and typical of the Wehrmacht of that era. Just a fun fact for you there.
Oh my god, this sniper is in a dangerous position, walking close to the minefield. I think trying to get shots off on the MG, pushing it away from the King Tiger. We do have the second Cromwell on, and the first one, now Vet 2, is almost repaired. A good push with 2 Cromwells, as you know, can be absolutely devastating. If he can find the Rickettans, remove them from the battle first, and then kind of move on, then you know, then maybe there's a little chance from here. But it's an all or nothing play. Do you know what I mean? It's
because of your very posh southern accent, Dan. I just hear you as a lieutenant, like. You're telling me, some poor private, if we just take the 2 Cromwells, push on from here, and then try and do a flanking maneuver on the huge King Tiger. I'm just like looking at you.
Well,
thinking,
gents, here's the enemy tank. I'm not going to lie to you, it's bloody enormous. But we have 2 slightly smaller tanks that might be a little bit faster. And I think, depending on what's behind enemy lines, we might be able to push through. Now, sorry for the tone of my voice. I'm feeling a little uncomfortable telling you this, but.
A little bit of lubrication. If we grin and bear it, I'm sure we can deal with its enormosity.
I can't say enormousness. I said enormosity. That's not a word. Never mind. It's girth. That would have been better. I should have said girth. There we go.
But it's so much of a challenge. Von Aston is, funnily enough, I don't know how Von Aston's like not. I don't know how he's lost these 2 VPs. I think he's like so focused on just taking Jet on head for head. But you know, he could be finishing this game a lot quicker. We're kind of like Von Aston. Come on, you're in a very, very good position right now. You don't want to be giving your opponent time, and I'd actually say Von Aston is giving him too much time in a sense. Because he's played this game very well, but you don't want to be doing this in the position you're in. You could be doing great pushes back into the base, forcing that surrender. Instead, he's given a decent amount of time for Jet to rebuild.
He has, and that's just extending the natural length of this game. But saying that, Jet does have a decent army size now, so to give him the respect he deserves, I think we should cast properly just for a moment, because there is possible potential of a comeback. I mean, if you gave some top-level players Jet's game situation right now, they'd be thinking, okay, 64 victory points, yes, but I've got 2 Cromwells, a 6-pounder, a Vet 3 sniper, 3 Tommies, 2 MGs, and 2 stolen Rakettenwerfers. Is that right? No, 2 6-pounders, sorry, I mistook them because they've changed icons. But never mind. Oh, Olbersoldaten in a difficult situation. 6-pounders just been decrewed.
Yeah, AT gun, huge hit from the King Tiger, removing that immediately. He's going to retarget it again. Will it go down to another hit? Unfortunately, this one misses, and Sniper, I believe, gets its ability off to turret lock the King Tiger. This is the long turret lock, by the way. I mean, if you watch the length of this turret lock, you'll realize how good the Sniper's ability is late game for the Brits.
Shame that Cromwell wasn't able to force its way in there. We've got a Rakettenwerfer and a Panzerful watching over the Tiger tank's flank. Big push in from Jay. His victory point situation is becoming dire now. It's down to 50 victory points and slowly bleeding away, so he's going to have to be a little bit more aggressive. But I can't see much of a way back in unless he literally throws everything in at the same time and tries to outmuscle his opponents.
I'm actually no longer counting Jay out of this game because Von Aston's decision to go for this King Tiger is slowing him down massively.
It is.
You know, it's a unit that he's just not able to be flexible on the field anymore. He's trying to defend this VP on the left, but he's lost the 2 VPs now. This drain is going to be slow, going to be steady, and the 2 Cromwells, they'll go back, get repaired, and Jet is going to have enough territory to start climbing up to his next vehicle. Or at least start pumping up those munitions for... what is it with this map and getting infantry trapped in the treads and the turrets and things? So, there's always something weird on Khan going on that's, you know, like kind of tragic to watch.
Whoa. Vet 5 Stern Pioneers repairing the Tiger more quickly than it was damaged. And, I mean, the King Tiger has 3 kills. It's been pretty useless, let's face it. It's a very expensive unit, so much fuel. But I think Von Aston, now that he's building a Panzer II Lux, and he's got so much veterancy on all his vehicles, and sorry, infantry, he should be in a good position to finish this game off. But unfortunately for him, by going for the King Tiger, he's allowed his opponent back into things. And you don't want to do that. It makes things a little bit more dangerous.
It's also in a very flankable position. Oh, Jet losing an infantry squad there. You don't want to be doing this. He's got a chance to come back in this. He needs to be way more careful with what he's got. The King Tiger's in a very flankable position, and I don't really see the support for it there yet. Panzer IV is making an appearance, but you know, thanks to those like sight lines on Khan, actually kind of favors faster mobile units that are able to kite properly. Oh, what a great use of the sniper ability again, turret locking.
Awesome.
J4Jet isn't going to push though.
Oh, Tiger could have killed a sniper there if he was a bit quicker to it. I mean, we've seen a great push by Jay there. However, he has lost that central victory point whilst this is going on. But a huge glider attack to try and get rid of this MG34 in the north there. This is vital. He's been pushed away, keeping Jay in the game for now at least.
God, I wonder if he can wipe that Vet 3 MG. He does. He gets it, and it could be a nice little pickup for him. Raketten's forced to retreat by Micro from the Cromwell on the right-hand side, and Jay has
commandos
no...
on capping north.
Jay has no intention of losing this, and Von Asten looks a little bit like he's struggling, which I'm really surprised to see.
No, I agree, and I think the King Tiger is a liability, as Hyelja says in chat there. It's the perfect example of a liability. You think you've got this huge asset, but because it's not very good, because you bought it on lease, it just does nothing but weigh you down, you know? Panzer II Lukes is a great weapon for in a victory point based battle though. Showing that aplomb right now as the commandos are forced away. Possibly killed. Maybe not.
Oof. It's so fragile right now. I mean, just a little slip up, I feel, from for J4Jet could result in an absolute catastrophe. Von Asten, he's making I think this is sensible from him. He's trying to push the VP on the right-hand side. If he distracts J4Jet and has him defending the right VP, he can cap and defend VP mid and left, and he can just sit there and hopefully end this game.
Things are heating up right now. Von Asten's gone for a third victory point cap. Got Rakettenwerfer setting up, the King Tiger slowly ambling into view. And J4Jet has to see the warning signs. He has to see the danger. That is Von Asten finishing this game off right now. And he has to act on it.
Oh, that tank swivel was really, really fast.
It was.
Cromwell with great vehicle control. The sniper might be in a bit of danger here to the King Tiger as it comes around and finishes it off with a huge shot.
Oh.
That was an essential unit for J4Jet coming back into this. He needed to get that turret lock for his Cromwells to efficiently move around and counter the King Tiger. With
Look
that
at this
loss
in the north as well. The MG34 is perfectly positioned. The Panzer II is going to help out. This is the end of the game as we know it.
I think what a good game it has been as well. J4Jet gave it a real go at a comeback, and really, really unfortunately wasn't able to close it. But you know, he gave himself a really good chance. I think the actual counter build was good, just not necessarily getting all of the micro off and the plays off that he needed. Never made that big dive that I think we needed to see. Unless he makes it now, possible.
2 victory points done.
Or not.
Possible in what realm? But indeed, he's now a dead contender, and our king is in the money.
Absolutely. Von Asten continues as King of the Hill. Alright, and that was the end of our third game, meaning that Von Asten, who's playing really, really well at the moment, stays on as king. So, we're not going to waste any time. We're going to go and pick our next contender for Game 4. And see, who do we have, that is capable, in your opinion, of beating Von Asten right now?
Oh, loads of people. Loveness, Nagano, Theodosios, Tomikaze on his day, Brosras certainly, but then you've got other players like Red Wings, Refero, Stern Panther, and that we haven't seen much of on King of the Hill that are a little bit unknown quantities. They could also be good. So we've got a lot of options, to be honest, and it's quite exciting. It's an exciting field.
It is indeed, and we're going to select the next player in just a second. So, let's spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel.
And of course, we had a moderator's pick last time. That was Legio, who picked J for Jet, firm favourite with our mods.
Oh, so I see what's happening. It's removing options, isn't it, as we go?
It actually
I understand.
is. Yeah. This is I don't think we've had this one before. Least games played.
Oh, that's a good one.
So if we go over to our spreadsheet, we're going to have a look at the games played for people that have signed up at the moment. And the person who's signed up that has the least games played is going to play right now. And it is between... Oh, no, it is in fact... Love Nest. That's very unfortunate, I think. Oh, nice switching there. I think it's... Oh, no, it's Red Wings. It's Red Wings. There we go. So Red Wings will be the contestant to play.
What about the guys that have no games played?
Well, they're not signed up.
Surely that's... No, Refero,
down here.
Kamikaze.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you know, I didn't even see that when you switched it around. Sorry, my bad.
No, it's my bad. I wish 0 was an option, but it is technically so. But
okay, so we have Refero, Stern Panther, and Tomikaze, and I guess we'll do a straw poll to allow the viewers to select between the three of those. Hey, I can hear you furiously typing away.
Right, tell me the names, please, whilst I type them.
You have Refero, Stern Panther,
yep,
Tomikaze.
Okay,
you guys can have a look at those three players to make your choice. And this is going to be the contestant to play against Von Asten, and Von Asten is playing extremely well at the moment. Killer Jones, thank you very much for the cheer, by the way.